We have been in this world for over 2,000 days, and it is finally time to begin our biggest project yet by transforming this iron farm into a massive exploding volcano. And while I've never built a mountain or volcano before, I have built a massive floating island, so it shouldn't be too hard, right? But if you're excited for what is to come, smash that like button and subscribe to see more. I feel like the smart way to do this would be to go into a creative world, design a volcano, and then bring it back into my world here with a Matica schematic. But we're not going to do that. Now, to be fair, I did go into a creative world and do a little bit of design work on a volcano, but the volcano is actually going to be too small, which means we're going to have to up it a little bit and kind of do this from scratch. Now, before we actually start gathering all the resources and materials that we're going to need for this project, I wanted to actually prep this area. So in my inventory right here in all these shulker boxes is a bunch of stone to build up some framing around our iron farm for our lovely volcano. It's going to be a lot of work. I know that because I kind of feel like I'm drawing this freehand. Even though I did do a little bit of design work, I still feel like a lot of this is going to be freehand. So let's start laying some blocks and see what this is going to look like. Framing thought would take a lot longer than it actually did, so at least that part is done and we kind of have an idea of how the rest of this is going to go. But still, this is just going to be a massive project. So much resources and blocks to gather and build with. We're going to need a lot of black stone from our piglins, some basalt from our lovely basalt generator, and of course a few magma blocks. And a few other stony blocks such as cobblestone and a little bit of andesite. We're going to need a bunch of campfires for smoke and of course a lot of lava. And since I'm going to need a way to blend this all in, I think we'll take some moss and grass along with maybe a little bit of gravel and coarse dirt. While this looks pretty, all color-coded and everything, I was thinking this was going to be enough. But when you then look up at our mountain behind us, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think we're going to have to go and mine for a little bit more stuff, particularly the blackstone and the basalt and a few of the other overworld stony blocks. Now, while I think this is now going to be enough resources for our mountain project, there is another thing that I'm going to need a lot of, and that is glass. You see, since we are building in the blocky game of Minecraft, I think the simplest way to make it look like this volcano is actually exploding is to use a bunch of glass to create the smoky effect out the top of it. And the easiest way to get our glass is, well, through my librarians. However, we don't really have a great way to get emeralds because right now, to get a bunch of emeralds, I tend to trade with my farmer villagers and we only have 3. And unfortunately, only 2 of them actually trade pumpkins with me. So I think we are going to use a bunch of the villagers that we have over in this swimming pool and make them into farmer villagers that we can then trade with, especially our pumpkins, and get all the emeralds we could ever want. Now, the question is though, we might have villagers, we might have a zombie purification system, but we really don't have anywhere to house these fellas. So, what are we going to do? You saw it in the time lapse, but oh my goodness, guys. We made ourselves a beautiful windmill, and I am so thrilled with how this thing turned out. We got ourselves a nice little path all going through the forest here. We will probably fix this at some point, maybe add in some custom trees, maybe some buildings along the way, but for now, I think this works perfectly, and here we are at our windmill. On the inside, we have all our farmer villagers that we could ever want, and I also... oh. Hello? I am so confused right now. Why is the watermelon coming down through here? This is 16 farmer villagers in here, and so this will be our emerald production. I haven't leveled everybody up, but they do... most of them are up to journeyman now, so that's good. But to get up to the second level, I just go this direction and have a little bit of a platform I can walk around on. Unfortunately, because we do have a pumpkin and melon farm up there, we needed to put the redstone blocks right here for the powered rails. It doesn't actually look that bad. We might add a few more leaves around or something like that to hide it a bit more, but I'm not mad at it. I think it's okay. But all of the pumpkin and melons come into this chest right here. Actually, this whole like band of barrels, it all kind of gets filtered down. All the rest of this is just extra storage. So I have some of the extra melon slices over here, some of the full ones here, and it's just kind of a cute little storage area for our pumpkin and melons. But if we take a look at the windmill from the outside, in a little bit of a better angle and with a little bit of free cam, I am thinking this is looking quite nice. Windmill blades are still very much something that I struggle with, but I'm learning, and I think these ones turned out quite well. And I really love how I did the birch wood and the strip birch logs and the smooth sandstone in that kind of shape. It just gives it so much more definition and difference rather than just straight walls. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in those comments what you think about this build. If you guys would be interested, I have launched a Patreon and I will leave the link down in the description. So if you want to head on over there, this build might just be for purchase as one of the Patreon tiers. But now that we have our windmill for our farmer villagers all done, and of course all the emeralds that we could want, it is now time to go and trade with them so we can get all the glass that we will need for our exploding volcano. Well, I got myself a little bit of glass. I'm pretty sure we're gonna need more, but before we go and do that, and also work on dyeing it the proper colors, we are going to spend some time working on this mountain. You see, it's something that I'm partially avoiding because I'm nervous to undertake it, and we need to stop avoiding things. So let's jump into a time lapse and see what we can start making this thing look like. Welcome back for a progress update. Oh my goodness, friends. I have taken on an absolutely massive project. So I have the whole volcano actually built out of stone, but I wanted to do stone first because we were putting lava and the rest on top. I was like, it might be nice to have something underneath of it. But here we have a small section of the actual build mostly completed. I feel like it needs some texturing on in there. And so I'm almost thinking that maybe some concrete powder or, I don't know, concrete itself could look all right up there. But honestly, I don't have a lot of time to actually finish off this mountain for this episode. So I'm gonna just place everything because I know if I don't do it now, guys, the chances of me actually completing it, probably not very great. And with that, our lovely mountain is complete. Sort of. Kind of. You know what? The base part of this mountain is complete. And I will tell you now that I am never building a mountain in Minecraft again. This thing was so painful to create and to build, and I just don't know if I can go through that again. Watch me 6 months down the road being like, oh yeah, I want to build a mountain again. This will be fun. Now, as you also have noticed, there is no explosion out the top. And I've been thinking, besides the fact that I only have about 12 more hours to actually complete this video before I need to get it out, what villager would actually build a village with an exploding volcano right beside it? It just kind of makes a little bit more sense for the explosion to happen after the village gets built. But before we can actually call this project complete, there is a couple more things I want to do, and they're mostly detailing bits and pieces. As you can see here, we do have a bunch of black concrete powder and gray concrete powder. So mixing in the black and the gray together a little bit could work out nicely. And then we need a few little trees around here. But if we're gonna do all that, it means we actually have to go get some concrete powder. And while I have a lot of sand and a lot of gravel, I don't have a lot of black ink for doing the black dye. So I think we are gonna go for a little bit of a swim and see how many squids we can find to get a whole bunch of black ink. Well, with over 4 stacks of ink sacks, I think we'll be good. Let's go grab that gravel and sand. Well, that's a good start. Let's see what we can do with this amount. Even just the simple thing of adding in the concrete powder around, I like this so much better. But we're not done yet. We got a couple more things that I want to do, and part of that is to kind of connect the actual mountain with the ground below. So I think we're gonna get some coarse dirt and some moss and a few other blocks and see what we can do about that. So we've done a little bit of detailing here with some moss and some coarse dirt kind of around the edges that are actually on the ground. And on the back, I have lengthened down the basalt and some of the blackstone, so we have that all moved down all the way. And now for the final piece of the puzzle here to fully finish off this lovely volcano, I am going to make some custom trees around here to just give it the air of actually being a full environment. Taking a step back, and I really like how this has turned out. I did do a few custom trees, and while I'm okay with them, I don't love them. So I am kind of thinking that I will probably add a few more custom trees around, but I want to work on the design. And if we are going to have this an exploding volcano, then I feel like we're going to want a few dead trees around here eventually. So I'm going to work on a design for that. And I wanted to make this biome just a little bit different than what it actually is. So I added in a few of these lovely mushrooms. So if we take a little bit of a fly up and we look down, I think those mushrooms with the spruce trees is looking absolutely beautiful right around the base. And oh my goodness, look at this, guys. This is actually looking like a biome. Unfortunately, this does mean it is the time for the end of the video. We have done so much today, from building up that volcano to also putting in a little bit of a custom biome around here. And gosh, guys, I am tired and I am still never building a mountain again. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new, and I shall catch you in my next video. Bye for now.